have an assignment to continue the narrative of The Stolen Party by Liliana Hecker. Here are the last few paragraphs of the published story. Put yourself into the scene. Visualize how Rosora is standing with her arms stiff, pressed against her mother's body, her mother's hand on her shoulder. Rosora is staring at Senora Inez with that cold, clear look of understanding. Senora Inez is standing by motionless, her hand outstretched, holding the 2 bills. Some of you feel that the infinitely delicate balance should not be upset, but I'm asking you to make the movie of what happens next. Who moves? Who speaks? What happens? Tell the next 10 minutes of the story or so from Rosora's point of view. We're going to try and stay consistent with Hecker style, so use third-person limited narrative point of view. Most of you have a draft already, so as you revise, we're going to focus on the IADD toolkit. If you need to look at point of view and make sure it's third-person limited, be sure to do that. And also, you need to pay attention to your paragraphing, which we covered in previous lessons, so you'll be making revisions for that also. So for IADD, that stands for Inner Thinking, Action, Dialogue, and Description. These are the building blocks of narratives. Sometimes these techniques get blended together in the same sentence. Sometimes it's hard to tell if text is inner thinking or description, but nevertheless, all of them should be present to some level. Let's look at the last page of The Stolen Party. This is on page 115 of your text. I'm going to code the text according to the kind of building block that it is. And I'm going to use these colors up in the right-hand corner of your screen. So to begin, finally, she came up to Rosora and her mother. Now that's an action, so I'm going to make it blue. She had a big smile on her face, and Rosora liked that. So the first part of the description of Senora Inez, and the second part is Rosora's inner thinking. Senora Inez looked down at her, then looked up at her mother, and then said something that made Rosora proud. So again, we have some action followed by some inner thinking. What a marvelous daughter you have, Herminia. That's dialogue. And we have the exact words of Senora Inez in quotation marks. Notice it's a new speaker, so it's a new paragraph, and that we're going back to Rosora's thoughts after that. So again, there's a new paragraph after that line of dialogue. We can keep going with the highlighting, and our story will look like this. What I noticed is that in this portion of the story, there's not a lot of dialogue. In other parts there are, like on page 112 where she's talking with a girl with a bow, it's almost all dialogue. But even there is description and action and inner thinking intermixed with the dialogue. I'm going to ask you to pause the video and highlight the rest of your story on the rest of the last page of your story. And when you're done, you can resume the video. So maybe your copy of the story looks like this. What I want you to notice is that the writing keeps switching techniques. There aren't whole passages of description. It's not just one long interior monologue happening in the character's head. There's a blending of IADD. So back to your narrative toolkit. We're looking for you to use a blending of IADD, third-person limited point of view, and paragraphing according to conventions. If you need a refresher on paragraphing, you can go back to last week's video, or you can look at the anchor chart in the classroom. But these are the times when you need to have a new paragraph in narrative. I'm so looking forward to reading the ends of your stories. Good luck!